is all new stuff. All right. Well, hey, what's up, Rams Nation? I'm here with my buddy Nick from Nothing But Niners. And, we're part of the Fan to Fan network. That's how we connected. And we got a lot of good other YouTube creators from all the other teams. But we're stepping behind enemy lines and having Nick over here. He's a really good dude. So let's just keep it all respectful. We can dislike the team, but the fans, let's be cool. So, hey, Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and, why you're a Niners fan?
Yeah, so first off, Trent, I appreciate you having me on the show, man. It's a pleasure to always do these crossover shows, get to know the enemy type of thing. Hey, like Trent said, man, keep it cool, but hey, I can take it, so you can bring it, right? So, look, man, I live in New Jersey currently right now. I've been a Niners fan since birth, so pretty much left the hospital in a Niner onesie. I'm the seventh of 8 kids. My mom is born and raised in California, San Ramon. So therefore, I had no choice. I was kind of, babied into the whole Niner red and gold bleed red and gold all the time. So, but that's a little bit about me. I'm a retired fireman, out here in New Jersey representing the Niners as always. And it's been some bad years, some good years, and not so good years as well. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to talking to you about the Niners and this Rams in this upcoming game and get to know you guys a little bit as well as you get to know us.
Yeah. And so I'm like an original LA Rams fan, like before they moved to St. Louis. So back in those days with the Jim Everett days was like, we were pretty good and you guys were really good and you would always beat. So it was like those kind of matchups where like you guys would always stop us in the NFC West, NFC title games. And so it was like that kind of heartbreak. And then we were crappy and moved to St. Louis. And then you guys like ran the 90s and you beat us 17 consecutive times, like in my formative years. So that's why the scars like runs real deep with me. And then we were good, greatest show on turf. And you had like your Jeff Garcia, Terrell Owens days. So like you guys were good, but like we were better at that time. And then we went back to like just total crap. And then you guys were good again. You had like Colin Kaepernick and like those teams were loaded. So it's really been like an up and down battle. And I know that like, especially coming after like last week's game and you guys are like really annihilated with injuries, on what scale or on a scale of like, we can still make the playoffs compared to like Jimmy G is a bum and let's get that draft pick. Like, where are you kind of like realistically at right now? Because it seems like it's this game can make it go like either way.
Yeah, I was just looking these up and talking about this on the show last night, on our platform. The Niners are number 9 right now in the NFC. And if you remember this year, they extended the playoffs to 7 teams. The NFC in general this year is not crazy good in record wise. The Niners have a possibility still, even though they're 2-3. They come out of the hardest division in the NFC West. In my opinion, I think the NFC West is the hardest division in football, in the NFC side. But look, right now, man, we are, just like you said, we're decimated with injuries. The biggest thing is Jimmy G the guy, right? Look, I'm not going to sit here and say he's not. He took us to a Super Bowl last year. Whether people believe that or not, the Niners got there by running the football. Well, the Niners also got there by a couple times where we needed to throw the football, and Jimmy G came through. Jimmy Garoppolo last year was his first year playing a full season as a starter. We went to a Super Bowl. This year, obviously, against Arizona week 1, he didn't play. He played okay, not to what we think that he could, but you also got to look at that as no training camp, like no preseason games, none of that, get on the same page type of thing. But to answer the simple question is, Jimmy Garoppolo has this year and next year left on his contract. And I believe, so 3, 4, this year and next year. This year actually coming out is an opt-out year for the 49ers. They could save $21 million on cap if they decide to move on for Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think that's in their plans. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is more than capable enough to run this offense. We've seen it by going to a Super Bowl. I think a lot of it this year right now is decimated in injuries, a couple new pieces on the offensive line that are flip-flopping positions because of injuries. And look, he's got to step up. I'm not going to sit here and say that he doesn't. He's got to step up. He's got to take the helm and just put this team in the right position to start winning some football games. So where are we at? I still think there's a slight chance to make the playoffs, but you got to start winning football games. You got to start now. You can't.
And you guys, I mean, after like starting with us, really, you have like the gauntlet of all gauntlets coming up. So this is like if you go down in this game, then like you're even more like it's just even tougher. It's not like you face the Saints and the Bills already, and like you still have the Jets on the schedule. So like you're really like this is a real tough stretch for you guys. So that's why I feel like when we played you in Week 6 last year, we lost. It was like the worst game for the Rams of the season, and that pretty much, even though we still missed the playoffs by one game, and we had a winning record, that was like the third loss in a row, and it really kind of set the tone for the season of us being out of sync. Now, sticking with the offensive side of the ball for you, I know, like you said, Garoppolo is your guy and stuff, and I've realized now that like pretty much your offense coming into this game is pretty much intact. Like you have you have Debo, you've got Ayuk in there, Kittle, your running backs are in there, Jimmy G, your offensive line is like the same guys. So I'm curious to know like why I'm sure it's because of the quarterback play recently with Jimmy G being out and then coming back and not looking sharp. But what is it about the offensive line? Because I really felt with Trent Williams, McGlinchey, and like these guys are rated pretty good on Pro Football Focus. But what's going on with your offensive line?
Right. So, all right. So obviously Trent Williams is new coming into this system. He does know the system from being in Washington with Kyle Shanahan before. But the difference is there's probably different verbiage. The offense has probably evolved more since Kyle Shanahan left Washington and has now become the head coach of San Francisco. So Trent Williams, I think that's a little bit to do with both. He's also hasn't played for a year and a half. This is his first year back. So we're talking 5 games in a year and a half that he's finally just getting back. His first 2 weeks were great, right? Played great. So that's left tackle. Then you go to left guard and you got Laken Tomlinson. Usually this is an underrated guy for me. I think he usually plays under the radar, plays decent. You don't hear his name much. This year, doesn't look so much. Looks like the communication on that left side is not working as properly as they want. The same with the right side. But communication seems to be a big issue between the left tackle and the left guard in Trent Williams and Laken Tomlinson. So whether that be picking up, Trent Williams slides out to pick something up, but he was supposed to slide in or versus Tomlinson sliding out and picking up a guy and Laken grabbing somebody else. The communication isn't there. A lot of times, if you watch the All 22, you can see the guys frustrated that communication wasn't picked up. Then you hear Kyle Shanahan on the other side and go, communication. Things just aren't being communicated on the offensive line. Now, those two positions, then you switch to a center. I'm not going to give so much of a break to Ben Garland because of the fact that he's been playing pretty decent, and he was also the guy that stepped in for our starter last year in Weston Richburg. So Weston Richburg continues to be injured. Doesn't come off the pup till this week or can eligible to come back. But Ben Garland is more of a guard type of player. He is stepping in and playing center. He does okay. Not too much. You don't hear his name too often. And then you go to the right guard. Right guard is Daniel Brunskill, who is normally a tackle playing guard. Big difference in the scheme using both playing guard and tackle. You hear offensive linemen say it's not as easy as you think it is to switch from one position to another, just because it's on the offensive line. You're different footwork, different hand placement, different technique completely. Then you go to Mike McGlinchey. Mike McGlinchey's been struggling on the right side. He's been struggling in and out of games. Sometimes he'll have a good game. Sometimes he has a bad game. He makes some silly plays in crucial moments. Same thing with Trent Williams. Both of them have been making crucial plays, as in allowing a sack or a pressure in crucial downs. So 3rd and 22s, 3rd and 15s, get hit with a holding call. We get a 76-yard run from Raheem Mostert to take a lead in a game, and it comes back because of a stupid holding call from Mike McGlinchey. So very, very not disciplined in some things that they're doing this year. And overall, like I said, I think there's just not that continuity yet between them with a new guy in Trent Williams and Laken Tomlinson, the communication on that side. Brunskill and Mike McGlinchey playing next to each other on the right side. When I said, Brunskill's usually a tackle, not a guard. And then center play has been okay. But overall, man, this offensive line has not played well at all. We cannot, if you go back and you look at our run game has been okay, but we get down and then we lose those crucial downs to where Kyle Shanahan normally is really good on 1st and 2nd down. But then now we're getting in a 3rd and longs, and we can't do anything because the offensive line can't block to give our quarterback time to throw the football. Whether it's 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, they're back there. So that's definitely been hindering.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I see that the Niners are like 4th. Their offensive line is 4th in the NFL in sacks allowed this year. So that was kind of surprising to me. Now, if you were advising Sean McVay and defensive coordinator Staley on put Aaron Donald against this guy, because he'll run this guy over more than maybe the other guy. Which would be the weak link guy that you would be, or as a Niner fan, you'd be like, oh, please, Aaron Donald, don't go against this guy.
Yeah, right now that would have to be for me, Mike McGlinchey, and okay. That's an outside guy. Look, we know that Aaron Donald is going to go all over this line, right? We've actually held Aaron Donald to very minimal in the last year or so. If you go back and you look at it, whether it was Mike McGlinchey or not, this year I'm a little worried about Mike McGlinchey on the outside with Aaron Donald, and I'm also a little bit worried with Brunskill on that right side. I'm okay with the left side. I think the left side will be able to handle him. Not that many people can, because he's still going to get his. He's the best defensive tackle in the NFL. He's still going to get his, but we have to limit that. So it's a lot easier. Kyle Shanahan made a quote the other day. It's a lot easier to help people on the outsides than it is to help people on the inside, obviously on the offensive line. Kyle Shanahan can scheme different things to give help on the outside to protect Jimmy Garoppolo from Aaron Donald, as well as others. But I'm hoping that he doesn't just line up on the well, it would be the left side or right side if you're watching the TV. So Mike McGlinchey's side. But yeah, definitely that's the thing that worries me. Aaron Donald can change a game completely by himself.
Yeah, and pressure up the middle is always that kills every quarterback. So it doesn't really matter who you're going against. I know the Rams 2 years ago had a lot of pressure with pressure up the middle from other teams like Fletcher Cox and the guy from the Chicago Bears. So okay, that's good to know. And I was also thinking about now you have this stable of, I guess, outside weapons, because now you have Deebo Samuel in his second year and he's back from his injury. Ayuk has looked good when he's played, and of course, Kittle. He's not really like an outside threat, really. But now you have these three guys. So for the Rams, our secondary is actually pretty good this year, really good. We're missing Jordan Fuller, a rookie, but he's like one of our best players on defense. He's out this week, and so I think the matchup would have been a lot more beneficial for the Rams had he been in there, because I think that what they'll try and do is have Ramsey shadow Kittle on like obvious passing plays, because Ramsey can play in any position in the secondary, in the slot, outside. But I'm just curious, like, where do the Niners line Ayuk and Samuel up? Are those both outside guys? Does Ayuk line up in the slot? Because I think if he lines up in the slot, he'd be going against Troy Hill sometimes, and that might be kind of the matchup that you guys would want. So I'm just curious, like, where you're, and then you have Bourne out there too. So kind of like, where do your receivers / tight ends usually line up?
In a Kyle Shanahan system, they line up X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
It's pretty much matchup based. So there is a chance you may see Ayuk in the slot. There's a chance you see George Kittle in the slot. There's a chance you see Deebo Samuel in the slot. There's a chance you see Kendrick Bourne in the slot. There's a chance you see Trent Taylor in the slot. Trent Taylor's probably the only guy who won't line up outside the hash or outside the numbers as much as others will. Kendrick Bourne will line up on the outside. Obviously, Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. I'm looking for Deebo to be all over the field this week. And the reason that is because he's coming off injury. He's been eased back in. Last week, he didn't really get much stuff going because the offense couldn't get going. The week before, he was kind of being eased back in with that foot injury. We haven't seen the capabilities of Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel on the field at the same time yet this year as Niners fans. This is only their second week practicing together with our starters intact. So that's Deebo Samuel, Ayuk, George Kittle, Raheem Mostert. This is their only their second week in the entirety of the year being able to practice together. So this has to be the week that the offense gets going. It has to be. And, the embarrassment that was put up on us last week against the Dolphins, the players felt that and the players realize. And that's one thing that, I think that I'm comfortable with going into. I think the Niners match up really, really well with the Rams on paper. It's just a matter of execution.
Yeah. And I mean, going back to that Dolphins game, because, once again, I look at the offense and I think, granted, they didn't have a lot of time together going into the Miami game. So, maybe that's a lot. And, maybe Jimmy G his ankle really isn't fully healed. He can't get push off of that. And, because those balls that he threw were.
Oh, horrible.
Yeah, horrible. So, you have to think that that's just not an arm problem, right? So, the offense to me feels like there's not much change. And if there is, it's like, you're still working in upgrades like Trent Williams or a rookie like Brandon Ayuk. So those would eventually be good changes. But on the defensive side, I know that you guys had a lot of fun with this undrafted free agent or like a practice squad guy, Brian Allen.
Yeah.
And, so, I mean, it can't be worse for you guys than that. So if you don't have Brian Allen play, because what do you give up? 124 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 pass interferences in the first half.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, and you have is Akilo Weatherspoon and is Emmanuel Mosley going to be back?
Emmanuel Mosley's been out with a concussion since week 1. Mm-hmm. He practiced in full this week. So that's a good sign for us. Obviously, we're down on if you want to go on to the defensive side. Corner has been yes, we lost in Nick Bosa. Anytime anybody loses a caliber of Nick Bosa's platform, you're gonna lose athletic ability, right? So you're gonna lose athletic ability. And then on top of that, you lose your other outside edge rusher guy, right? What helps the secondary? A pass rush.
Yeah.
Right. So not having outside guys has definitely decimated the 49ers defensive front. You have Eric Armstead playing the outside now where he's better inside. You have Kerry Hyder Jr., who's stepped up and has been playing pretty well in replace of Nick Bosa. But then again, he's not a Nick Bosa, right? So a lot of these times as we're so decimated on the defensive line, it's hard to make these switches and get these players in and out and rotation so they get worn out and gassed. And it's a lot easier for offensive lines to beat up on them because of the fact that there's not many people behind them. We're into our 3s and 4s.
Yeah.
So this team, to even still win 2 games and be 2-3 with all the injuries that we've had on both sides of the football right now is a godsend.
Well, playing the Jets and the Giants when this all goes down is like the perfect thing, because if you had played the Rams or the Seahawks or, pretty much any other team that's competent, that could have gone south like really fast. So, yeah, I mean, just losing guys for the season, nothing's going to help that. But
right.
The timing actually worked out well for you if you're going to look at it like that. And so that's one thing that you're talking about is the pass rush. And last year when we played you guys, you got your defensive line was Nick Bosa, D Ford, Armstead, and Buckner.
Yep.
Like when you going into last season, and I knew how good D Ford was and Nick Bosa, and so those were additions to Armstead and Buckner. And you already had Solomon Thomas, but he wasn't fully realized. I was like, oh man, this defensive line is going to be legit. So essentially, you lost like 3 of the 4 big hitters off of that line are gone right now. Granted, you have Javon Kinlaw. How has he played as a rookie? And I understand why you guys made that move, because if you're going to pay someone, you can pay Armstead and make that trade and get Kinlaw, and it's like just a better strategic move than paying Buckner and losing both guys or not having both guys. So I totally get that. But like, how has Kinlaw panned out so far as a rookie?
Look, you said it right there, rookie, right? And not everybody's going to come in the NFL and play a rookie season like a Nick Bosa, right? It's very, very far and few in between that you get that type of natural talent. Javon Kinlaw has been progressing from week 1, and it's only going to take a matter of time. He's getting pressures. He's good in the run game. He's not standing out on the stat sheets, but when you watch his play in the All-22 or you go back and watch a game, he's beasting around. He's doing his job. And that's the best part about it is we're seeing this kid grow. He's due for a huge game. And when that game is going to go or when it's going to come, nobody's really sure. So, but to answer your question, Kinlaw's been playing at a rookie level, maybe just a little above, and has been progressing and getting better each week.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. And yeah, because he wasn't standing out. I never saw any things. But I mean, also from a defensive tackle and a rookie, you're never really going to make headlines. Even Aaron Donald was good his rookie year, but he wasn't like Aaron Donald amazing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That just takes some time, and hopefully he's just holding down the fort for you. We talked about your secondary and how it's really banged up. I think your secondary has probably the best name in the entire NFL with Jaquiski Tart. I can't take that guy seriously just because his name is Jaquiski Tart. Yeah. But so you'll have Mosley, you'll have Weatherspoon. And I saw that Dante Johnson is out in this game, or he hasn't practiced. And
yeah, Dante Johnson's out with a groin injury. Emmanuel Mosley will be back. I don't think Ahkello Witherspoon starts. I think it's still Jason Verrett.
Oh yeah, Verrett. Yeah.
But a lot of people keep forgetting. Has been having a very good year quietly.
He's healthy.
And when healthy, he's probably the best DB on this team, including against Richard Sherman.
Oh, wow.
All around, I think Jason Verrett is a better defensive back than Richard Sherman, as in coverages, can play more man, can play press, can play zone, play cover 3, cover 2. He can do it all. Richard Sherman won't be back this week. He had a setback in his calf injury, so it doesn't look like he'll be back till possibly next week, hopefully. So the outside guys are probably going to be Emmanuel Mosley and Jason Verrett. Thank God no Brian Allens. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, if one of your guys DBs gets injured, then who knows? What about who's your slot guy? Because that's where Cooper Kupp is, and if your slot guy is not up to par, then that's going to be and so what the Rams do, and we'll talk about this on your stream as well, but what the Rams, if it's a third down and any kind of like medium to long, it's going to be Cooper Kupp day. So who's your slot corner?
Okay, so right now Jamar Taylor is our slot corner because K'Wan Williams is out with an injury, MCL sprain, which when K'Wan's on the field, he's probably one of the best nickel corners that is in the league. In my personal opinion, that's not, homerish. That's just by play. He can stick with shifty guys. He can stick with bigger guys. He can do it all around. Jamar Taylor last week, he played well in training camp. He played well in training camp as a nickel. But last week he kind of got beat up a couple plays here and there. But that's also expected in the NFL, right? You're not going to win every rep. So I look for him to come back and have a better game. I think that he can cover Cooper Kupp, so I'm not too worried about that position this week. Knock on some wood, right? But real wood too at that. But yeah, so I'm not really too worried about that. If we were going into this game without Emmanuel Mosley, I'd be a little bit more worried about our corner situation. But since Emmanuel's coming back, I have full trust and faith in him and his ability and what he can do. And then as well as Jason Verrett on the other side. The biggest thing here is we got to get to Jared Goff. And everybody knows that playing him, if you get to him and you put pressure on him and you hit him a few times, he gets pressurized and frustrated and makes some silly throws and just doesn't play well under pressure. And that's why when you guys played us, the second game you were beating us, you started rolling Jared Goff out, away from the pressure, and just giving those little dump offs. I don't see that happening this time around because the pass rush isn't going to be the same as it was last year. But that's the key. That's a big key for the Niners to be able to win this game, and offense obviously get going.
Yeah, and Goff and Garoppolo are similar in terms that they, especially this year, they haven't been airing the ball out, and they usually have medium to short passes, and they get that yard after catch. Like you got Garoppolo throws it to McKinnon or to Kittle, and they've got room to run, or Ayuk, and he's taken off. So like the yards that you see and the stat sheet are really like the yard after catch from the receiver. So what the Rams have really done and schemed after last year, well, number one, their offensive line is like night and day compared to last year. So last year, you talk about like the communication, and you had, guys learning different positions, like on the fly. Like on week 8, our right guard became our center. We traded with the Browns, and that guy became our right guard. And then our left guard was out, so we had a rookie playing. So it was just a complete disaster on our offensive line. So when we played you guys and we're going up against, those guys, it's just like, you have to roll them out. You got to get them on the move. So coming into the season, not only is the offensive line a lot better, but they just don't want Goff to hold onto the ball too long. So he's doing these rollouts, and he's just getting rid of the ball quick. It's basically, and I said this on my show today.
It's Kyle Shanahan's offense. That's what it is.
This is Michael Jackson, man in the mirror. Like Sean McVay looks into the mirror and he sees Kyle Shanahan looking back at him, and they do the same stuff, like pretty much ranked right near each other in outside zone running, play action, motion, yards after catch. So it's really kind of the same thing. Now, you said you needed to apply pressure. How are you guys against the run? Like, how do you feel like you going into this game, you have a better chance of stopping the run or the pass?
Look, with those numbers, man, we're still third in the NFL in passing yards allowed, even with those corners, right? I know we've played some crappy teams, and even with Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing for 400 yards, we're still third in the league. I don't even think we've allowed a 100-yard rusher. Where we get beat is the quarterback getting out of the pocket.
Frank Gore didn't run for 100 yards on you?
No.
Oh, just kidding.
No. He's long past them 100-yard days, even against his team. But no, the run game has been really, really good. But there's one guy that's out this week, which I don't think hurts us much, and people on our channel will probably laugh at me for this, but Quan Alexander. Quan Alexander, linebacker, isn't playing this week. Dre Greenlaw stepping in, which I think is a lot better than Quan Alexander. He doesn't miss as many tackles. He's not as fast sideline to sideline, but he's a better coverage linebacker than Quan Alexander is, and he also is very, very good in the run. So Quan Alexander's out this week. Dre Greenlaw is going to step in, and then our Sam linebacker is going to be Azeez Al-Shaair, who is a younger guy but knows the system, played a little bit here and there last year when Quan Alexander was out and Dre Greenlaw was playing Will. So he stepped in and played Sam. So there's not too much of a misstep there, I guess you could say. It's just kind of preference on who you like better. But play-wise, I think Dre Greenlaw plays a little bit better than Quan Alexander. I don't even think Quan Alexander is going to be a 49er next year, to be honest with you. But because they can save a ton of money. But the run game has been really good. Like I said, where we've been getting beat up is quarterbacks. And it's not even, when you look at quarterbacks, it's not even that much. It was like 90 yards to Kyler Murray. It was like 27 yards to Sam Darnold. It was 44 yards to Daniel Jones. And then Ryan Fitzpatrick just threw on us. He didn't really run a whole lot. So it's not crazy amount of yards, but it's the time of the game that it happens. Yeah. So the quarterback will take off on a 3rd and 15 and they'll convert.
Like the Russell Wilson thing.
Yeah. And look, I mean, this wide 9 defense and playing more man this year, which we have been doing a lot of man and zone, man on one side, zone on the other type of defense. The quarterbacks just have a ton of room to run. If they escape the pressure, which is what's been happening, pressure's been getting there, quarterbacks are escaping the pressure, and they're taking off for 10, 15 yards.
Yeah.
And that's what's been killing the Niners.
Interesting. Yeah, that's all good stuff. Like that definitely was an education for me, and I'm sure everyone here on the channel, because I know the names, and I even know some of I know Quan Alexander, and even we didn't even talk about Fred Warner. And he's a beast this year, and he's always pretty good. And you still have him, so it's like this just goes to show kind of how deep your roster has been. You still, even though you've lost a lot of guys, you still have like name dudes. You still got Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward. We didn't even talk. So like your safeties, and so that's kind of a testament. So that's all really good stuff. We're pretty much up at it here, just approaching 32 minutes. So is there anything else you want to say to Rams fans, maybe something that they didn't know, or just a general statement? And do you want to give a score prediction?
Score prediction. I don't want to.
Yeah. You're up against it here.
I don't want to bite myself in the butt like I normally do, but no. Once again, I'll go through all that, but I appreciate you bringing me on here. Much respect to your fans as well. I see some great comments over there, so I much respect to you guys. The biggest thing coming out of this game, man, is I want both teams to be healthy. I want a good football game. I don't want to see players of any nature get injured. To put a damper on anybody's season. Injuries can kill a football season and kill a football fan being able to watch games, right? So, much respect to you guys in the fan base. As for the Niners-Rams game this week, I look for the Niners to get back on track this week. And not only do I look for it as a players getting back on track, I think of it as Kyle Shanahan getting back on track. It's Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay. And those two know each other in and out. And Kyle hates when Sean beats him. And because Kyle has taught Sean a lot of everything that he knows. So I think that there's a battle right there between those two. And then obviously the players trying to get battled to get back on the field and get back into winning ways that this team is used to. You go from, a lot of these guys that played on this team as well were, 4-12 the year before. And then they win a Super Bowl. So now they have a taste of both losing and winning. And then obviously losing in the end. But I do look for the Niners to get back on track this week. I do think it's going to be a close game. I think that the Niners pull one out, though, this week, 27-24.
All right. I mean, I would not expect you to say the Rams were going to win. I mean,
I would if I felt that way. I honestly would, because I try to keep it real. But I think there's too much riding on the season for the Niners this week, and they're going up against a division opponent who they know very well. And also I said Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay battle. And that's, I think, what helps push this along a little bit.
So you this is the Garoppolo get right game.
This is the 49ers offense get right game.
Okay.
I wouldn't put it solely on Jimmy Garoppolo, but this 49ers offense has done nothing all year that they're capable of doing. And we've scored 39 points in a game. But we just haven't seen this offense in full, as in, Deebo Samuel with end arounds, Ayuk with end arounds, Kyle Juszczyk being utilized in the pass game. We're still down Tevin Coleman. Jeff Wilson Jr. Is still hampering an injury this week, and you may see a undrafted guy in JaMychal Hasty come out this week. We got Raheem Mostert back now. Like I said, Tevin Coleman is out. Jerick McKinnon. we haven't really seen McKinnon and Mostert in a game get going because of injury, because Mostert was out. McKinnon's trying to take the load because Tevin Coleman's out. Jerick McKinnon's not that guy. So we really haven't seen this team completely in all as a starting unit, and you can see it on the field. You can see the way they play. There's no chemistry. You just haven't seen it. I think this is the week that we finally get to it, and I think a lot of it has to do with the last week's game of getting destroyed, and also the competition between Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up one quick comment here. Z Drizzy says, come on, we know Shanahan isn't good when it is all on the line.
Hey, look, he's 100% right. Keep it real. I've roasted Kyle Shanahan, not running the football. 7 minutes left in a Super Bowl, and you're winning, you got a 10-point lead, and you just completely go away from a run that you've been averaging 6.7 yards per carry. So, yeah, I hear you guys. Until he proves otherwise, he is that guy right now.
Yeah. And one thing that someone on Instagram, Rams House TV, brought to my attention, that JB Long, the voice of the Rams on TV, he tweeted out that in the last 10, because you were talking about the 49ers offense, in the last 10 quarters for the Rams, so starting with the second half of the Bills game, then going against the Giants and the Washington football team, who, I mean, come on, we know who they are. The Rams have allowed only 3 touchdowns, 33 points given up. They've had 3 takeaways, 17 sacks, 3.9 yards per play against. So the defense is really clicking with a new coordinator and a lot of new pieces. So this is going to really be, I think, your guys all coming together, our defense really rounding into form. If we can get to Garoppolo, I think this is going to be tough stuff. So I have the Rams winning, but of course, like, why wouldn't I? And but yeah, I'm really excited. I'm actually, like, I hate to say it, but I'm not going to watch this game live because it's 2:00 in the morning for me. So I'm going to wake up, take the kids to school, come back. I mean, I'll already know who won because I can't even really sleep. Like, I wake up all the time. I'm like trying to look at my phone. So I don't know why I just don't watch the game. But I'll wake up and hopefully it's like week 1. I woke up because it was also a Sunday night game and I saw that we beat Dallas. I saw that you guys lost to Arizona. And it was like I was like euphoric. I kissed my wife, kissed my kids. I was like, it's a beautiful Monday. And
it's a beautiful day.
Seriously, I think that's what I'm really hoping for. My Monday's either going to be like destroyed or it's going to be amazing. So anyway, Nick, I really appreciate you coming on, and everyone here, Rams Talk fans and Rams fans, go over to his channel, give his videos a look. He's at Nothing But Niners. It's the same thing for all of his socials, and it's NINERS, not letter number 9. And check him out. Him and his buddy Mike, they do a great job. Super cool guys. And so, like, it's okay for us to hate the 49ers, but some of the fans are pretty cool. And Nick, I really appreciate having you on, and I look forward to joining you on yours soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, man, Trent, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Shout out to your fans as well, keeping it respectful. And like I said, I can take it. So if you guys got it, you can bring it, but just keep it in the respect. Just come at me. Don't come about out family or anything like that. But man, I appreciate you having me on here. And hopefully this is a clean, healthy game of football for both teams. And I gotta add it in there. But go Niners.
I hear you. All right. Well, thanks again. And hey, Rams fans, let's do the comments, and also check me out on Instagram, LA Rams Talk, Twitter, Real LA Rams Talk, and on my Flick group, which you can see all the links in the description of my last video that I just actually posted today. So hit me up there. Have a great Friday, everyone. And as always, go Rams.